Before I start discussing why raising the minimum wage is relevant and well needed, I would like to first ask you all one simple question. I don't want you all to answer, just elaborate on this. Could you imagine working for 25 cents per hour, totaling $2 for an 8-hour workday? If we adjusted that to the inflation of today, that would be $4.45 per hour. Well, when Franklin Roosevelt first introduced minimum wage into the United States in 1938, that was the set rate. According to the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938, minimum wages was conceived as a way to help both wage workers and decrease class stratification. It was created to stabilize the post-depression economy and protect the workers and the labor force. For over 50 years, this has been one of the most contentious battles of economic policies. Since beginning, liberals have seen it as a crown jewel in the fight to protect workers, while conservatives frequently claim that higher wages doesn't do much for our country. The question whether to raise the minimum wage is one that is highly contested, with the economists and the politicians alike taking positions on both sides of the issues. Proponents insist that raising the minimum wage reduces poverty, while the opponents believe that a rise results in higher prices and fewer jobs. Did you know currently 29 states, along with DC, have minimum wages above the federal minimum wage of $7.25? 5 states have not adopted a state minimum wage, including, guess who? Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, along with Tennessee. According to the National Conference of State Legislators 2019, 18 states began the new year of 2019 with higher minimum wages. 8 states, including Alaska, Florida, Minnesota, Montana, New Jersey, Ohio, South Dakota, and Vermont, automatically increased their rates based on the cost of living. While 10 states, including Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, Missouri, New York, Rhode Island, and Washington, increased their rates due to the previously approved legislation of ballot initiatives. Other states will soon see the rates increase during the 2019 calendar year, including DC, Delaware, Michigan, Oregon. New Jersey also enacted the AB 15 in February, which will gradually increase the minimum wage rate to $15 by year 2024. The minimum wage for the tipped employees will be increased to $9.87 over the same period. The schedule of annual increases was delayed for certain seasonal workers and employees of small employers. Also, for the training wage of 90% of the minimum wage was created for certain employees for the first 120 hours of work. Illinois enacted SB 1 in February, which will phase in a minimum wage increase of $15 by 2025. The measures also adjusted the youth wage for workers under the age of 18 and gradually increased to $13 by 2025, and created a tax credit program as well to offset labor costs increases for smaller employers. Maryland's legislature overrode a global national veto to enact a measure, SB 280, that phased in a minimum wage increase of $15 by 2024, with a delayed schedule of rate increases for smaller employers. An elimination of tip credit in the state, submitting minimum wage for employers younger than the age 20. New Mexico enacted the SB 437 in April, which would raise the state's minimum wage to $12 by 2023. The measure also established a training wage for high school students and slightly increased the tip minimum wage. The Raise the Wage Act of 2019 would lift millions out of poverty and boost the economy. It will also save taxpayers dollars. So what's the problem? I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is Congress. Today, millions of Americans do arduous work in jobs that pay too little, and they offer too few benefits. Employees these days serve food, clean offices, they care for the young and the elderly, they stock shelves, they deliver pizza. They work these jobs year after year while caring for their children and their parents, trying to save for college and paying their bills. But despite their best efforts, these low-wage workers are falling further and further behind. According to the new Awesome Interactive map, the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour is locking millions, most notably women of color and single parents in poverty. The way we see it, if you work hard, you should earn enough money to get by. Right now, the place to start is to raise the poverty wage. That's why today, congressional hearings on the Raise Wage Act of 2019 are so important. The legislation would increase the federal minimum wage to $15 by 2024, benefiting nearly 40 million workers along with their families. Here are 6 simple reasons why raising the wages makes sense and should happen today. Number 1, it is long overdue, and we all know that. In the decades since it was first created and last raised, the minimum wage has failed to keep up with the inflation of the average wage, and most dramatically failed to keep up with income of the top 1% and CEOs, contributing to America's growing inequality. As a result, the low-wage workers are not benefiting from the economic growth or the productivity. If the minimum wage had kept pace with productivity increases, it would already be around $20 per hour. Just 30 years ago, the average pay gap between CEOs and workers was 59 to 1. Last year, it steered to 361 to 1. Look at the numbers.
Yeah.
The average CEO makes $13,940,000, while a minimum wage worker makes $15,080, a gap of 924 to 1. It will address long-standing racial and gender inequalities. Number 2, historically marginalized people who do more than their fair share of low-wage work would stand to benefit disproportionately from the hump. While 27% of the total U.S. workforce would benefit from the raise, 39% of Black and Latino women versus 18% of white women, it will also help them benefit. 38% of African American women workers would benefit. 33% of Latino workers would benefit. 32% of women workers would benefit versus 22% of men. Number 3, it would reduce poverty. The bump from $290 a week to a $600 a week paycheck would lift millions of families out of poverty. More than a quarter of the workforce, 40 million workers, would see a raise in wages. It could fuel a great economic growth. The roughly $120 billion extra paid to workers would be pumped into the economy for necessities such as rent, food, and clothes. Economists will have long recognized and boosted purchasing power by putting money in people's pockets, for consumer spending has positive ripple effects on the entire economy. In the recent polls, 67% of small business owners support minimum wage increase to $15 an hour. They said it would spark consumer demand, which would enable them to retain or hire new employees. And raising the wage doesn't seem to compel employers to cut jobs as states and cities across the country has done. And they raise wages. Research has found no statistically significant effects on employment. Number 5, it will save taxpayers money and reduce use of government programs. Think about that. When employers don't pay people enough to survive, those workers are compelled to seek government assistance, meaning taxpayers are essentially subsidizing and the corporation. In 2016, the Economic Policy Institute found that among recipients of public assistance, most work or have a family member who works. They are concentrated at the bottom of the pay scale. Raising wages for low-wage workers would reduce net spending on public assistance, particularly among workers likely to be affected by a federal minimum wage increase. Last but not least, it's what the vast majority of America wants. The vast majority, up to 3/4, including the majority across party lines, support raising the minimum wage. In fact, over half the states have raised their minimum wage to restore basic fairness to the workplace. All work has dignity and worth. After 10 years of working hard, low-wage workers deserve a bump to get them and their families out of poverty. But the important legislation may not pass because Congress faces. So let's take action into our own hands and tell Congress to reward our hard work and restore hope for millions of working families by signing this petition, urging members of Congress to support the Raise the Wage Act of 2019. Thank y'all very much. Woo!